can't believe we just did that.
Yeah, but we also agreed we weren't going to talk about it. So it's weird now
Well,
that you're bringing it up.
Not paying your taxes is kind of illegal, so I shouldn't have even brought it up.
Where are you going with this? I'm so what?
I don't know.
Where you took this just implies that the thing that we just did just now was not pay our taxes.
Right.
Like it was like I have to tell you, 364 days out of the year, I don't pay my taxes. So it's like, I don't know that the fact that we just didn't pay our taxes right now at the end of August, I don't know if that's alarming.
It's hard to say.
Hello and welcome.
Welcome to the Movie Man Podcast. The awkward segue person is myself, my co-host.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't you dare put that on me.
That on you. No, but my bringing it back to reality co-host is Brady. I'm Pete. We are the Movie Man Podcast, and we are here today to review I was going to say a 2025 film. It is, but it's a new release, and at the time of recording, it technically hasn't even been released yet.
No.
But by the time you're listening, it will be released across Canada. Loathe Thy Neighbor.
I mean, it's going to come out at like 6 a.m. So technically, you could listen to this
and it not be released
before you get a chance to before there's a screening for you. But yeah. There's two things that I think are absolutely crucial.
Sure.
I was thinking about these all day today.
Okay.
And I'm about to sound like Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers or something to that effect.
Sure.
But the two things that I want to talk about today, boys and girls, is transparency and integrity.
Sure.
If you follow our social media or listened to the interview that we did with Brennan Klost, the one of the stars of this film, you will know that we were sent to, like, how are you reviewing this, you say, if it's not out yet. We were sent to go and watch like a pre-screening, advanced screening of this film.
At a theater, yeah.
At a theater. With the director and some cast and yada yada. So that's the transparency part of the talk.
Yeah.
Then there's integrity.
Sure.
Even though we were sent to go view this film in a really awesome, had lots of fun.
Very cool.
If this film sucks, we'll tell you it sucks. Like, we're not, like, in no way have we accepted any money to give a positive review. In no way have we made any promises or have even been asked to, like, there has been zero pressure given to us to, hey, maybe you could say some nice things. None of that. This will be the integrity of this podcast, and our opinions remain intact for this episode. I can't comment on future episodes. Who knows? But yeah, it just felt important to get that out of the way, because if what's about to come is positive things, and I'm not saying they are, I'm not saying they're not, but if what's to come is positive things, I just don't want anyone going, well,
they had to.
Yeah, like you or you're just trying to, if this film sucks and we're about to sit down and crap all over it, and as a result we don't get an opportunity to go to another screening from this production studio or the production company, or we don't get a chance to interview these people again, or yada yada yada, then so be it.
I think those are two important things to put out in the atmosphere.
But on the flip side of it, if we're about to sit down and say really nice things and then more cool opportunities don't come our way, then also what the hell? Right? Like, I'm kidding. Okay, so Loathe Thy Neighbor. We went and saw it. What are your thoughts? Should we do initial impressions?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, what is your initial impression? Or do I usually go first?
You usually go first.
I'll go first. Oh, God, it's been so long. So, Loathe Thy Neighbor. I'm not going to bury the lead here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting film, and it's an interesting film to review because, as is always the case when you're reviewing a film that is sort of an indie, low-budget, guerrilla-style filmmaking type of film, it is important, like we end every episode by giving a film a rating individually on a scale of 1 to 10. Or I guess technically 0 to 10.
Sure.
And it's important to note that you can't... You have to view a film like this through the right, pardon the pun, but lens, right? In that if you saw Doctor Strange and you thought, oh yeah, Doctor Strange is an 8 out of 10, and then in the process of deciding, well, how are you gonna rank Loathe Thy Neighbor, and then you compare it to, like, you use the fact that Doctor Strange is an 8 out of 10 as your measuring stick. Well, then
I think
then this becomes a 1 out of 10 because it's clearly not Doctor Strange.
I think our friend Carl on the show kind of has some context on that too. Is you rate a film based on what it's trying to do. So if a $500 million
for what it is,
well, yeah, but what it's trying to do and what it is when it's trying to do it. So if it's a budget of if it's a movie with a budget of $500 million, that's a horror movie. It's going to be having different goals and different attributes than a movie that's a cartoon with a low budget. Like you have to take into context sometimes what the movie's trying to do when you're ranking it. So you might say, I gave this cartoon a 7 out of 10, and when you gave the horror movie a 7 out of 10, it could mean slightly different things. It's not always apples to apples.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up pretty well, what I'm trying to say. But also just to, like, I think a lot of animated films cost a lot more to make than what you just implied.
Think of what an example would be, but yes.
But yeah, so okay. I enjoy the film quite a bit. Mm-hmm. For what it is, and for what it's trying to be.
Yes.
Not and when I say that, it makes it sound like trying but not achieving. Just what it intends to be.
Yeah.
I think it's a good film.
Cool.
It's not The Wizard of Oz.
No. It's
not The Sound of Music.
No.
Where they weren't trying to be.
And they weren't trying to be.
And they knew they weren't going to be because it was a low budget. And there are some, when we get into this, there's actually some low budget things that I was thinking about today that one could view as a demerit. But I actually think they end up being endearing to what the film is. But anyways, what's your initial impression of the film?
Very, very brief. I would say it's...
Was that a knock? That felt like a knock.
No.
Felt like you just took a shot at me.
I did not.
Oh, whatever.
I'll say it's less funny than I expected it to be.
Okay.
Not saying it wasn't funny. I think I was expecting more top to bottom humor. But I think it had more heart than I was expecting. So I was expecting more, not superficial, but just exclusively laughing bits, comedic moments. And it had less of that than I expected and more heart, more character than I expected.
Right.
I think in general, and we'll get into this later, I've really thought this out. There's one thing that I think detracted from the story. There's one character that I think if they had altered her... the way she was in the film, the way she was interacting with our main characters, I think that story aspect might have made the whole overall story a little bit more seamless for me. So there's one little thing I would have maybe changed. But overall, I thought it was really enjoyable. And I thought there was some incredible performances and visually a stunning movie. Whether it was the landscapes, the room panoramic views, or even some of the cooking scenes. There were some really visually strong moments in this. So
Right.
I overall enjoyed
Okay.
this. Yeah.
All right. Interesting. So can I ask a question about your initial impression?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even so much a question as it is I think I would echo what you're saying in terms of was not the tone I was expecting. Like on the whole was not the tone I expected.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that for me is a demerit.
Sure.
Just so far as there was less comedy than I thought because more of that pie, more slices of that pie were taken up by personal, heartfelt, deep, dramatic moments.
Yeah.
Than I expected it to be.
Yeah. And I think maybe I'll echo what you're saying, because I think that was how I was feeling. It's not a bad thing that there was less funny. I was just surprised it was less funny.
Yeah. It was more balanced.
Yes.
If anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm tended. I don't always need to steal the spotlight, but I'd be open to talk about my critical thing first, because I'd like to get that out of the way.
Yeah, I was thinking too. If there's anything that we don't, that did not work for us personally, again, keeping in mind all film is subjective, doesn't mean it was a bad thing about the film. Just
because I'd like to get mine out of the way first, because the rest of the stuff is actually stuff I enjoyed.
Yeah,
and I'd like to end on a good note.
I'd say we end on a high note.
Yeah. Okay, so the thing that I would have changed was, for me, the neighbor's daughter, Valerie, that character.
Interesting.
And there's nothing that was wrong with her role. There was nothing with the way it was written. It was just how it maybe took away from, as you just said, there's only so many pieces of the pie if you're taking away screen time or energy from the actors. So what I mean by that is, I found giving her too many complicated layers really detracted from the story. So I think she did
have a lot of character development.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that in a character, but we've got our two main characters who are layered, which is good, which is something that really came across in this film. These characters all have layers. It was a little bit of too many cooks in the kitchen when then also the neighbor's daughter had layers. And it's not so much that she had layers was the problem. It was the complicated layers where then she was antagonistic sometimes to Brendan. So sometimes she would slow the pace of things, because just when you think they're kind of getting a bit of chemistry, she steals something. Just when you think they're getting a bit of chemistry, then he loses some trust in her. And so there's kind of the betrayal, kind of the flaws that really, you think you're getting a flow, and then it's just stopped. I'd like more of the layers to be centered around our main characters, and the peripheral characters should be there just to kind of help support and move things along. Give Brennan, in this case, a bit of a someone to, rely on to kind of maybe get some comedic humor, being like, oh, that's just Ma, things like that. And I think it just would have been a little less... It would have been a little less complicated, would have been a bit more of a seamless story flow for me if specifically Valerie, had a little less depth, and Brennan and Lauren were given the layers to really peel back. Because I feel like it came at a cost. I feel like Lauren had layers, but we could have gotten into a little bit of even more layered with her.
Yeah. So, I mean, see, it's so interesting because Valerie is... had a lot of character development.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because I enjoy every moment that Valerie's on screen.
I do too.
Like I don't know, like I'm echoing some of the things that you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so sort of just thinking through it out loud, like I really like Valerie as a character.
Mm-hmm.
I like every moment that she's on screen. I'm always entertained and captivated by where this is going and what's happening and some tension that's being introduced. And as we're peeling back the layers of her and her backstory and stuff like that. Ultimately, and this is something you and I discussed on the car ride home, it does feel strange or felt strange. I mean, I definitely need a second viewing.
Sure.
Right. But there was some of it that felt a little bit strange, that when the film was said and done, like she just sort of had a lot of dramatic layers that just were resolved with sort of a comedic outcome of that, like she gets busted and is doing community service and whatever, right?
Yeah.
But and so there's a little bit of a redemption arc for her.
Yeah. But not fully. That's a good point.
But not fully, and they don't make it clear at the end of the film whether or not Will and Valerie are still kind of flirting, or if that's gonna I don't know. But it is interesting that, as you were alluding to, I feel like Valerie has more character development than Wanda does.
Yeah.
And I like the development that we get from Valerie, but I do wish there was a little bit more from Wanda. Because I think Lauren Holly's fine in the role. Fine sounds. She's good in the role.
Yep.
And I think it's a good role, but I think I hungered for a little more of like, well, this is why, like, let's unpack why Wanda sucks, right? As opposed to just like Wanda kind of, she's kind of not a stereotype in the film, but she's she's like
a cranky neighbor,
a stereotype of a cranky farming woman.
Yeah.
But I feel like we don't, at least I didn't get as much of an insight into who Wanda is and why, why immediately right off the bat she is antagonizing and terrorizing her neighbor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to say, right? Because not every story needs that. Like sometimes it's just like every film will ask you to just accept some things for the sake of hitting the ground running.
Yep.
And right, like it's completely valid for a film to say, well, but that's just not the story we're telling.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She is this way. And the story that we're telling is that she is this way. But we're not telling the story of why she's this way. And I think that's valid. But just for me, sitting down and viewing it in the mood or the vibe I was in when I sat down and watched it, I think I walked away going, I don't think Wanda got as much development as I wish she had.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point.
And Valerie, who's not one of the mains, does get a ton.
But then, like you're saying, she doesn't get enough of a resolution at the end to kind of give you that full arc.
To make it feel entirely satisfying.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's right. Honestly, that's kind of where my one beef was, that I was thinking, okay, that's maybe one thing I would maybe titrate, kind of tinker a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit with. Too many cooks in the kitchen. But that would be my biggest thing.
Okay.
Didn't ruin it for me, but I feel like I maybe would have liked to tinker it a little bit.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And I ultimately, nothing in this film ruined the film for me either.
Your chewing of popcorn kind of ruined it for me, but...
Well... It's these dentures. I didn't have the... I was trying to use... The glue's expensive.
Yes.
And so you try to stretch it across an entire week, and then partway through it starts losing some of its, its umption.
Yep.
I have one critique.
Sure.
And again, it's not even so much a critique, just as felt like a missed opportunity for me. Mm-hmm. I got excited because I felt like I feel like they set up a moment really beautifully and really funny, to a point where there was a couple people chuckling in the theater while this setup was happening, but I think a lot of people missed it. I thought it was hilarious. Like I was snickering so much because I could see what was happening and I knew what was coming. And it's when Will and Valerie are sitting in the barn, and they've stolen the THC honey.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Will's like, no, I don't do weed. And so I don't want any. And she kind of talks him into it. And he tries it, sticks his finger in and tries a little bit. And he goes, actually, that's
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the conversation then, all of the focus in the scene comes to Valerie. Valerie's monologuing, more or less.
Yeah.
I think Will responds a little bit, but she's essentially monologuing.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's deep backstory monologue that is sucking you in and making you pay attention to what she's saying.
Yeah.
But the entire time in the background, you just see Will, and he's dipping another finger.
And another.
He's dipping another finger. and he's dipping another.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is hilarious. Because it's like watching Wile E. Coyote drive off a cliff. He doesn't see the cliff is coming, but the audience does.
Yes.
Right? Like it's just this wonderful comedic moment that I thought didn't get the payoff it deserved. Right?
We talked about that,
like Will gets stoned.
Yep.
And goes to pee and kind of pees, like misses and pees all over himself.
Yeah.
And then sort of the next that we really check back in with Will, he's like on Wanda's porch and he's talking.
Tripping and falling.
Yeah, a little bit. And he's talking to her and he's out of it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's affecting his, but I don't know. I thought that when that was happening, we were setting up for some real
comedic dynamite,
absurdist humor.
Yes,
like slapsticky kind of stuff. Him alone in a field, paranoid as hell,
talking to a scarecrow or something.
Yeah, like
just
whatever
something.
it is, right?
Yeah.
Like a some crazy overstoned sequence.
Yeah.
And we just didn't quite get it. They sort of give it to us.
Yeah.
They give us some ramifications of him having taken so much.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was an area where they had permission to hit us over the head with just ridiculousness.
Right.
And we would have bought it. We would have eaten that up.
Yeah.
And it was just an opportunity that I feel like, and maybe they thought about it and didn't want to.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It just, for me, felt like a missed opportunity.
No, I think that's fair. We kind of chatted about that on the way home, and it's right. You kind of saw things kind of trickling, and you're waiting for that build, and then it just kind of didn't quite come.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
That's really my only criticism.
Yeah, the rest of the things are all things that I had fun with or I want to chat about.
Yeah, can we talk about Joe?
Oh, can we?
So there's a character, Joe, in the film.
Yeah.
Joe steals every scene he's in.
Yeah. And I think that's like a testament to how he was written, but also how it was performed.
I think it's definitely both.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily like, so for those that haven't seen the film, I mean, we'll have a write up below in our description section as well. But it's basically the story about a super neurotic, allergic to everything, kind of hypochondriac city kid.
Yeah.
Or city man that inherits a farmhouse in the middle of the country, and has a crotchety old neighbor that doesn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's sort of the antics back and forth between the two of them, right? Get off my lawn and all that jazz. But Joe, like, I don't even think Joe is just necessarily, we find Joe funny or relatable or whatever because of where we live.
No.
I think
not at all.
He's just, he
was pretty eclectic because he wasn't just one. He was this handyman, but he was also doing jujitsu.
Yeah.
Like he was just this kind of guy who had a lot of these different elements to him, and it didn't feel stretched or weird. He just felt like this really unique character who kept trying to bring Brennan to a thigh bar or whatever they called it. And,
basically. I couldn't, it was like, I don't think it was a strip club. I think it was like the way they were explaining it is it felt like a step above a Hooters. Like a Hooters, but,
less, I don't know.
Because I'm pretty sure, like, Hooters still has a kids menu. And I'm
What?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a family establishment.
What?
No, genuinely. I'm guessing you've never been to a Hooters.
No.
Monday night, all you can eat chicken wings. Look, Brianne and I go.
Nice.
We
with
don't
your
have
grandma.
one near us. I would happily take anybody. Like, it's Hooters in Canada in the 21st century versus Hooters the way it's always been portrayed in Hollywood and the way that it was when it first opened, like right. OG Hooters. They're two wildly different experiences.
But yeah, he is a really diverse character, and
he is.
He's brought alive on the screen well.
And what's interesting is he not only do I feel like he gets some of the best punchlines, and just his timing and his delivery.
Yeah.
Like everyone in this film gets good punchlines.
Sure.
But Joe especially gets some really great punchlines. And the film is sort of meant to be, or it feels like it's very self-aware in its goofy, almost satiric kind of approach, right? Because you have some extremes in this. You have some absurdist humor of like the mail delivery person who delivers mail on the four-wheeler is also the fire department, is also the like produce delivery, is also yada yada yada, right? And so that or like the absurdity of there's a cop in the film who is not like looks like they got a cop costume from a low budget costume store, which I think is both sort of a symptom of the fact that it's a low budget film, but also part of the charm. Like they lean into that, and that's fun. Will Brennan's character is maybe not actually all that unrealistic, but I feel like is sort of a hammed up version of certain and same with Wanda.
Yeah.
Joe,
I mean, they're not dissimilar to the classic odd couple dynamic.
No, for sure.
Really.
Joe almost, for me, was like the most real, down-to-earth guy.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Laughs,
like makes you laugh when you need to laugh.
Yeah, like out of everybody in this film, when the film ends, I'm like, there's only one of these characters that I would actually want in my life.
Yeah.
To be friends with.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think anyone's flat out bad. There's a lot of misunderstood people in this film.
Yes.
There's a lot of people at the end of their rope. But Joe's just, he's such a friggin' constant. Yeah. And like a good, he's just awesome.
The thing about Joe is I think not only does he have some of the best comedic scenes, he's actually given the most emotional scene, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because he not only... So Brennan's character asks, hey, what was it about my father that made you such good friends together? And so he just really digs into it. He has this emotional scene about talking about his deceased friend and what made their special connection so fantastic. And it's not just the emotional significance that carries through and how it's delivered, but it was one of the best scenes because Brennan's character literally smiles in this scene. And to my knowledge, I think that was the only time he smiled in the movie. It maybe wasn't, but that's the only time I remember him smiling in the movie.
It could be. I don't think he spends a lot of the film.
No. When else would he have laughed when you think about it?
Maybe. I mean, maybe like probably in that final scene.
Yes. Yes, of course. Everyone's a bit different.
Happy there.
But yeah, like just he gets those layers peeled back about, even though he has that resentment with his father, he hears those things that, made his father a special friend to this friend. And, I think there was just something about that scene, and it wasn't even one of the comedic scenes. And It was a lightning scene. So, yeah, no, Joe was he was needed just because you need that comedic balance with what's going on at times with these movies. It's a lot of slapstick stuff, so you need someone a little bit more or less in your face to balance it out.
Yeah, I mean, and it's weird. I don't know why I feel like Joe was almost the most grounded character, because he was an absurd character a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, just seems like a guy you'd want to.
I would
throw a couple back with and swap stories and
yeah.
There
were two scenes that really stood out to me. And one was just a laugh out loud scene, was the umbrella scene. That scene on the Zoom call where Brennan just loses his cool.
Yeah.
I actually laughed out loud. Like, I truly laughed out loud.
And I think they know that is their premiere scene. Like,
because it's all been building to this tension of our main character, right?
Yeah, well, and it's because it's not even necessarily entirely the climax, because there is some more antics that sort of continue after, but the umbrella scene sort of serves as this really great turning of the page for Will, because he's one of the things that is preventing him from jumping into this life of living in the country and staying there and enjoying it, not wanting to. He's a big city guy.
Yeah,
he's got a big city job.
Yeah,
he's got big city job stresses. Mm-hmm. He's got a big city boss breathing down. I think his name was Vince. breathing down his neck.
It's kind of funny. What the actual name on the IMDb is Vince Asshole. Yeah,
see? There you go. Right? Breathing down his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an important, yes, it's an absolutely hilarious scene, but it's also this really crucial turning point, because it is the severing of that tether to do everything else, right? He doesn't have a girlfriend back home.
No.
Never mentions having pets back home.
No.
Never mentions the boys back home.
Mm-hmm.
It's work.
Right.
Right? That is what's tying him to the city, is work. And I'm almost willing to bet, now we don't get this, but if they were to make a wiki of this universe and sort of unpack the history and backstory of things, I'm guessing that there would have been a real moment in the past between Will and his father where, landing this job was Will's ticket out of there.
Right. Yeah.
Away from his dad.
Yeah.
Right. And so... And use that as an excuse, as a reason to never have to reconnect, never have to rely on, never have to, right? Yeah. Like you could just, Dad, we're strangers that know each other.
Didn't
real
necessarily
well.
define him, but it was a ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And And so once that tether's gone, and he didn't even necessarily love the job, right? It was just, he loved what that job represented. And then the job is gone, and it's not until that job is gone that he is free to start the process of becoming the Will that we get at the end of the film. The Will who is going to keep the farm and stay and help sell honey. And I mean, I kind of hope it's just a film. Will's going to have to start doing some gardening of his own too. Because if this whole honey thing is just barely not really supporting Wanda, Will can't be like, hey, give me a slice of that as well. But yeah, that he's, he's going to become a part of this mismatched, dysfunctional, but wonderfully fun family that is the characters of this film.
Yeah, no, I think there was something there to that.
Yeah.
I just on a superficial level, that one scene kind of like you teed off on, that stood out to me. But the food preparation scene, just on its own, not for its meaning, not for
gushing.
Well, actually, even maybe more on the meaning. I loved it just on its own. Just one of my top 3. I don't have a lot, but I've got a top 3 of food preparation scenes. This might be one of them.
You genuinely, as we were driving home from the film, and you were talking about this food preparation scene, you sounded like Nicholas Holt's character from The Menu. Just this, like, you've seen The Menu?
No.
What?
No.
Oh, you wouldn't like it. But yeah, you were just like, you were gushing about it.
Yeah, and so I think although it wasn't necessarily the meaning behind it, although I did really like I really was lured in when it was building up, and then he gets stood up with his hangout with his friend, and that when he starts pouring the wine in the glass, I'm like, oh, like I started feeling for this person as a human being. But just on its own, aside from the emotional buildup that there was throughout this and the anticipation, just on its own, the food preparation scene was just so well done, pleasing. The lighting. I was looking at this delicious popcorn I was eating while we were watching the film going, I kind of wish I had this ragatini or whatever pasta. I don't even know what pasta is called, but whatever he's making.
Ragatini?
Rigatoni. I have no idea what pasta is called.
You don't have to tell us that.
Spoiler alert.
You made that evident.
But yeah.
I can't do math. 4 is 2 and 1 is...
But yeah. Fantastic scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just would sort of wrap this up by just saying, all in all, like, a great, fun film.
Yeah.
And it's the type of film that I think gets even better. Like, not only would I encourage people to go out and see this film, buy tickets, go support indie filmmaking.
It is, yeah.
But do some digging on, I mean, honestly, this is not meant to be a shameless plug, but we can save you the time and effort of going and hunting and doing the digging. Go check out our interview, maybe even before you go see the film.
Yeah.
Our interview that we did with Brennan, it would have been the episode that came out right before this. I think it's episode 479.
Yeah.
Because it not only is it a good, fun night out, but it's the type of film that I think gets even better when you know the story about how it came to be.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Of this small skeleton crew that just, we're like, let's be friggin'
artists.
Because
this isn't just about a job, because they were like, with the strikes that going on, this was about, let's make a project together. Let's go into this and let's make something fun. And
this was 100% about art.
Yeah.
Because nobody, regardless of how many of you go see this film, nobody making this film is thinking to themselves with the release tomorrow,
we're retiring.
how many millions upon millions, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be my $10 million payday. Well,
Yeah.
no, it's not.
Yeah. No, it
Right?
was just
It's
a group
not.
of artists
It's about art.
passionate about doing something together, but also something they were proud of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rank Loathe Thy Neighbor?
For what it was, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I was looking at my scale, and I don't think I'd go any higher, but I don't for sure wouldn't go any lower. I think just there were some really enjoyable things about this. I didn't even talk about the intro and the closing sequences. Just I loved that animation. That was great for me. The food preparation scene.
It felt very indie and sort of like
my mind went to Napoleon Dynamite, an indie film, but 20 years ago.
Kind of had a Napoleon Dynamite, maybe a little bit of like Juno, right? Like that kind of
vibe. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved, and just visually it was great. The landscapes were amazing. The lighting was amazing. Our area where this was filmed, Bruce County, has a reputation for its sunsets, and so there was just something so poetic.
I thought you were gonna say meth.
No, there was something just so poetic about these panoramic shots in the sunset and the sunrise, and it was so beautifully done in the film. But I know how beautiful they are in real life because I've seen them with my eyes. This isn't a sunset in, Finland or something. So, visually just very pleasing. And ultimately, it's a movie rounded with...
Oh, I see. Because you haven't seen... for a second, you're like... I thought what you were saying was... This isn't some sunset in Finland or something like that. These are nice.
No,
these are nice. And I'm like, what are you?
These are like sunsets.
Finland probably has beautiful sunsets.
I'm sure they do, actually. Those Nordic places. No, this isn't. It's not something that I've only seen in film. This is something I've seen in real life. This era. So you know what? It's a visually pleasing movie, and ultimately it's rounded with heart. Whether it's Brendan's character, whether it's Lauren's character, whether it's Joe's character. So a 7 out of 10 for me. What about you?
I'm sure Finland would have nice sunsets if it weren't for those goddamn ugly mountains in the way. Again, for what this is, for what it sets out to be, and ultimately for what it achieves, I'd give it an 8.
Cool.
Yeah, I definitely need a rewatch because it strikes me as the type of film where there's more going on the screen. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, this is fun. And they just kind of threw it together and it was, like, okay, yeah, 40-year-old virgin. Okay, whatever. Right? It's funny and it was... But then you watch a film... and I'm not going to say that this is like, I don't think this is probably on the level of like Book of Eli in terms of this, but like, I think on a second viewing, I will find even more layers to how things were done, why things were done, a photo in the background, right? Why a performance, why maybe a line delivery or something that the first time watching it, I was like, that felt a little odd. It feels like the type of movie to me that on a second watch, some of that will start to
piece together,
correct itself.
Yeah.
And I'll go, oh, okay, I get it. So
cool.
We have a fun treat.
We do.
It's candy corn. Sorry.
I am so pumped for the candy corn season to come around.
Seriously? Are you a candy corn guy?
I don't really care about the pumpkins versus candy corn. Like, I'm fine with either. If that's what you were trying to get at. Because there's a huge debate between which one's better.
Right. But no. Just you're a hardened icing candy.
Yeah. It's once a year, man. Once a year.
Sitting here in a, what would you call it? Is this Argyle?
Wouldn't you call it plaid? Maybe. It's a striped button-down shirt.
It's like an 8-colored plaid.
Oh yeah, like there's blue, green, 3 different shades of green,
and a watch. He's a man that wears a watch.
Well,
and checkered, colorful socks. Sitting here talking about how excited he is for candy corn.
I don't see what the two have to do with each other.
You're weird.
Oh,
is the
yeah.
Well,
but let's stay focused.
I like kisses.
They're not bad. They're just okay.
No, not chocolate, not Hershey's.
Oh.
The Halloween Kisses.
Oh.
Those like molassesy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm weird too.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No, we do have a treat. We have a special interview coming up with the director of this film, Sergio.
Like
we are
coming up now.
Like literally.
Like we're gonna let you listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
We had a lot of fun. We saw him at the showcasing of the film.
Yep.
And we had a lot of fun.
Took a picture with him.
Yep, we had a lot of fun catching up with him.
He put his arm around me.
Nice. I got my arm around Brennan.
Oh, you see the difference there? You see the difference?
No.
You put your arm around
the lead actor.
Oh. The director put his arm around me.
Well, listen.
You were like,
listen.
Come here, sweetheart, and put your arm around the man while he's like, okay,
I guess.
I said I'd take a picture with you. I didn't say that if you were sick, you could have one of my kidneys. And then I'm just standing there minding my own business because I'm like, wow, it's an honor to take a picture with this guy. But I don't want to. And he puts his arm around me and he's like, no, come on in.
Listen, agree to disagree. No, we had a lot of fun catching up with him at the opening, and we're excited to have a fun chat with him now for our audience to share in. So without further ado, here's our interview with Sergio. Well, Sergio, I guess I'll just start with just kind of generally, we've kind of heard some different stories and things, but what led to your involvement with this project? What was the story behind that?
Yeah, so the genesis story from my POV is that I was in Montreal and my phone rings and it's Lauren Hawley, and she basically said, it's the writers, it's the actor strike, and there's the actor strike and something else was going on. Oh, of course, the pandemic. And it was a difficult, challenging time in the film industry. And, a bunch of us are getting together and we'd love to do a movie. And I said, okay, when? And I forgot what the answer was. I felt like, like tomorrow or next week. So I was like, okay, let's talk more about this. But Lauren and I had worked together on a movie I did called The Cuban.
Yeah.
And, when we met the first time, I was telling this story last night at a screening that, I wanted to be like highbrow, cinephile and impress her with all my film knowledge. And then finally I said, like, one of my all-time favorite movies is Dumb and Dumber. And it was hilarious. But that truthfully, to make a film that's funny from beginning to end, where, I was in a theater with like 400 people that were busting a gut, from the first frame right till the end. That is like, those are the films that stand the test of time. So we had already worked together. And then, I said, do you have a producer? And she says, no. I said, do you have like a camera, equipment, a script? She's like, we have a location, we have an idea. Like, I think there was a draft of a film, of a script that Christian had written, and they were kind of like running around picking up wardrobe and props and things. So and a lot of the actors had already sort of been in place. So I think shortly after that, we just I agreed to come on as the director, and then we just started pulling favors, and I called Panavision to get some lenses and get some crew. And it just sort of came together fast and furious. And I think we did a Zoom table read before we actually made it out to the farm. But once we were at the farm, we were there as, as a family, living, working, playing. We slept there, we stayed there, we did, our laundry there. Like, it was literally like film boot camp. And I'm sure you've heard some of those stories already.
We have. So unpack for us the importance for you, or the atmosphere on a project like this, the emphasis that it was about the art. Because when we've sat down, we've recorded a review for the film. It's coming out tomorrow morning. And one of the things that we talked about in the review is, clearly when you're putting together a film with this kind of budget and this kind of crew, and this sort of almost guerrilla style filmmaking. Nobody goes to bed the night before the premiere thinking this is going to be my $20 million payday. Like this is going to be the one that makes me rich, and I'm going to retire, and I'm going to. Clearly, this is about the art. So talk to us about that dynamic.
Well, I love the spirit of that. I've done it many times, not always willingly, but sometimes financing is a challenge, and as artists we want to keep creating.
Yeah.
And our canvas is big and expensive. So I always look at films like My Summer in Genoa with Colin Firth.
Yeah.
A five-person crew shot all over Italy. It's heart-wrenching, beautifully shot, wonderfully acted. Like, those are the kind of films that get me excited. And I think sometimes when the guardrails are so like tight, I think it actually makes us more creative, because you kind of go in this like autopilot mode. You're out of your head and you're into action. And I think sometimes when you're too spoiled and you have all the things and all the toys and millions of dollars, you end up getting lazy as an artist. Yeah. So, and I have to be careful what I say, because I love all the toys and millions of dollars, but early on in my career, I met with Ed Burns' partner. They did the movie Newlyweds.
Yep.
And on a credit card for $10,000. And I'm like, that's the spirit. It's like, we can make a movie. We can all get together, make a movie, and release it. It'll end up on Amazon or Apple or somewhere. And it doesn't have to open in 3,000 theaters. Yeah. So like, the medium's changing, audiences are changing, how we consume content is changing, but storytelling is storytelling. And the way I approach this film is like theater, like you rehearse as much as you can, you kind of, you have as many conversations as you can, then you get on stage and you work out, you just do it,
Yeah. Well, you definitely display creativity in this film in that sense, because there were moments where I was leaning over to Pete and I was like, although this is like, we know, because we know some of the backstory, this is one property, and that's like, maybe it's a guest house or it's whatever. It started out as like an outbuilding garage type thing, but I'm like, this is being done as though it's two different like that. This is a next door neighbor. Yes. And it just because of the way of like, okay, well, I could tell that you were never showing things from a certain angle to maintain that illusion, and it works.
Yeah, it's movie magic. I mean, your hands are definitely tied, right? I can only shoot one way, or we got to shoot because the sun is over there, and so some of the creativity is birthed out of those situations.
Sure.
But yeah, and there were some logistic things like, how do we, like a lot of things we faked, right? Where's the window? Where's his bedroom?
Yeah.
We had to create all that, and through movie magic. And actually, the exterior of his loft is not the actual loft. Like, the loft is
right
further down, and so there was some kind of like movie magic stuff that we had to do to make it believable. But ultimately, I think it works, and like where they're kind of like stuck together in this space. So you only really see the road in front of their home, and my instinct or my preference is always to open it up and go into the town and meet the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, like the village, the people in the town and the village. But it wasn't that kind of movie. It was really about them two and the other characters. Yeah.
Sergio, at the opening, you kind of expanded on just some of the things that were positive when you were filming in this area, and working with it. So whether it's just the improvised moments of, just kind of comedically, but it really worked, the cat walking across the tractor and picking up, or just some of the things of just how surprising it was, the peace in the area where everyone's stopping, it's absolutely silent in a positive way, different than, fighting traffic and filming in a city. But I'm curious, with filming in this area, was there anything that was a challenge to navigate through that maybe wasn't anticipated?
I think what was challenging, well, we couldn't shut the street down, so it was on a major street. So there are massive trucks blowing by at all hours of the day, tractors, so that kind of stuff. But that's a challenge on every film. So we leaned into all the elements. So that became a character in the movie, and we just leaned into it and built out more in the soundscape. It was just a beautiful extra layer to have in the background, to have these real, because people ask me, like, were those tractors and trucks, were they actually like part of the film? And I'm like, no, they were just people going to work and going about their day.
I have no idea that they're in a movie.
Right. Exactly. Kind of run and gun. But yeah, there was a woman at one point that pulled over and bought honey. Like that's how like organic it was in terms of, just using the elements, and everything in the film we kind of discovered just being there. I'm like, hey, does that ATV work? Maybe we should get Daphne on that ATV. And it's like, oh, she's never driven a car before. That's okay. We'll train her to drive the ATV and we'll make it all brilliant. It'll work.
Yeah.
And then the cows, and then, what else? The hot tub in the background, the pool. It's just like, here's the sandbox, let's play. And here are the toys you can play with. And the homeowners were obviously super gracious and generous in allowing us to kind of take over their homes and make it happen.
Kudos on a wildly convincing raccoon. Speaking of the pool, like in a film where there was clearly some what I've described as endearing signs of a restricted budget, right? Things like the noise canceling Bluetooth headphones that is actually just hearing protection. But and those I found cute and endearing, and I was like, this actually adds to the film and what the film is. But that raccoon, I was like, I couldn't tell. Was it a taxidermized raccoon? Like, what was that?
Yes. No. Well, it was the skin of a raccoon.
Okay.
That they bought at like a thrift shop somewhere in South Carolina, or I don't know, somewhere down south. And then we stuck a pool noodle in it
to give it some shape.
Give it some shape. And then next thing you know, we were in post, I think, and I hadn't even noticed. But as soon as you put it on a big screen, there was like a little tip of green. You could see the noodle underneath its neck or whatever. So we had to like VFX that out and paint it in. But yeah, I mean, it's things like that, right? That you just make the best of it.
Yeah.
And make it work.
Yeah. Sergio, there was in our review, I did gush over some of the visuals in this film, and just with this area, we are known for our beautiful sunsets, and there's those panoramic shots, and there's those scenes that use the visuals what in a charming way for me, for someone who's from the area. But it was a very visually beautiful movie, whether it was from that, but specifically the thing I want to gush about was on the drive home, the food preparation scene. I think it's in my top 3 of food preparation scenes in film for me. And so I just want to say that I enjoyed it. I just want it on the record, but just kind of because,
thank you.
because it was such a small, intimate set. I am just curious, like normally a prop is a prop and a scene is a scene, but because it was just a bunch of artist friends hanging out in simple terms, did you guys actually eat any food with Brennan at the end of a scene, or was there any, or was it just simply art, we made the scene and like it was all cold noodles, and maybe it'll ruin the scene for me a little bit, but did you guys eat any of the food?
No.
Okay. All right.
Brennan ate it, but no, we had a ball shooting. I love food scenes. I've done them before in other movies. Well, actually, every movie I've ever done has like a food scene for some reason. Okay. I love food. Mm-hmm. And we were joking as we were shooting it. The DP, Mathieu, and I were just like going, "Oh wow, look at this! This is awesome!" It felt like a commercial, almost like a pasta commercial.
Right.
The steam, the lighting, like it was. and it came together super quick. We're just like, Brennan, do you know how to make pasta? He's like, no. And he starts laughing. And so all of that's made up because he didn't know how to cook, apparently. So he was just like chopping and throwing stuff in. And I'm like, let's just keep going. And I was directing him off camera, just going like, put the pasta down into the thing. And then Mathieu would follow him down. And so it was like, sometimes you have to choreograph that to death and do it in chunks.
Yeah.
But we just kind of did it organically and captured it.
That's awesome.
And it turned out great.
Oh,
with jump cuts. And,
yeah.
I really love that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
And the wine was fake, unlike other movies I've done where it was real, which is more civilized, I think. But
Welch's.
Yeah, something like some kind of grape juice.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Sergio, I mean, there was a lot more heart than I was expecting in this film. And obviously, we've heard talked about with your work, but specifically with this, bringing some humanity to it. I mean, can you talk to us a little bit more about just how you did that whole balance of, there was the comedic elements, that's part of the fundamental underlying aspect of this film, but it wasn't just hollow. There was that humanity to it and there was the heart to it. Just what was that balance like?
Well, I appreciate you acknowledging that. I think that's why Lauren called me, is that's my sort of wheelhouse, is really digging into the characters and finding the humanity. I can't play comedy. I don't know what that is. I can only play, human emotion. And I really identified with the sort of like the father figure son relationship between Joe and Will. Even Wanda, even though she's sort of like this villain, or we'll call her the bad guy. I just think it's a little one dimensional to just be like, oh, she's the horrible, annoying neighbor. But like, it's helpful to understand why. And I wanted to see more of her in the house, so we shot a lot of that stuff of just her, introspectively thinking about things, and you could see that life is weighing on her. And so one of my favorite shots is her just playing cards, solitaire. You know what I mean? Because it says so much about her character. So I that's something Christian and I developed and talked about, and I give him credit for writing a comedy that actually deals with real life issues. Also, like losing his father is a big thing, right? So, yeah.
Well, I do want to commend you. I mean, so Joe is my favorite character in the movie. He's somehow simultaneously the most absurd, but also the most down to earth of the characters. Like, so he taps into this weird balance of like, I believe him the most as a real human being, but at the same time, he's doing jujitsu in the garage and whatever. But I do want to commend you, because something we talk about on the show quite a bit, because the average movie-going audience does not realize how much of an actor's performance in a film comes back on and falls on the director, right? You can have a great actor in a good movie give a bad performance because they just got shit direction. And everyone in this film is phenomenal. And not to take any credit away from them, because obviously these are all talented individuals, but it's also in no small part due to you. So bravo. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that my role has evolved over time. When I did my first experience, so I took a lot of acting classes, and I knew how to talk the talk and kind of get them to certain places and push them, and we would experiment. But now it's like, when you have someone who's been acting for decades, you don't really need to give them acting lessons. It's more about, an actor will just look, what do you think? I would come, give a note or whatever. And then it's more coaching and observing than it is, than it is acting lessons, so that for me, that's a joy. When I work with Lou Gossett Jr.,
70 years experience. You know what I mean? Like, it's just when you give direction to an actor like that and they just bring you that magic, that those are the moments that you just live for. And I think ultimately they just need to know that you're there for them, and there has to be a trust that I have their back. Performances are on point, and we're getting to where we need to be. And I think that that was the biggest role, is just like knowing that I knew in my mind that something would work in editorial, and we had what we needed. So yeah, and I give them a lot of credit because there was a lot of rehearsing, a lot of preparation. You know, they didn't take it lightly. There was nobody there who was just like, oh, we're just gonna phone this in. They really worked hard to get to those places, and there's a lot of nuance and depth in the characters, even though it's, you know, being promoted as a moments as well.
So Joe, I guess just one my penultimate question here. What is the thing that you're the most proud of with this project?
I'm most proud of, well, two things. One, the overall look of the film. I'm very proud of that. You know, obviously we only had a Dana dolly, like 6 feet of 2 pipes that gives you all that fluid movement. The cinematographer, Mathieu, and the crew, they were like solid. They worked fast and they really did an incredible job. So the look, and then those relationships. You know, I love that each character has an arc and each character goes somewhere. You sometimes don't get that in a comedy. It's just like you're so heavily focused on the funny that you kind of like miss the depth of it. And I think funny just comes from playing real. So that's what I'm most proud of, and the fact that we were able to pull off a miracle in such a short amount of time. Like it's, man, when I think back, it's like, it's just a miracle that we're even here talking.
Yeah, for sure. I have some like short film directing experience and acting experience and stuff like that. And I remember about 2/3 of the way through watching this film, thinking to myself, it is making less and less sense to me that they managed to shoot all this in the period of time that they had to get it shot in. Yeah, it's wildly impressive what you guys achieved.
It takes a village. This is a team sport.
Yeah.
So there's no one person that can take credit for it. It's, you know what I mean? The person pulling the cable, the craft service, like all the different departments have to pull together. Sound is so important. You know, our sound person, Joey, was on point. Mathieu, the cinematographer, Rebecca, the producer, one of the producers, you know, Lauren and Christian. I mean, it's just Brennan, that anything could go wrong at any time. So it's like a small miracle every time a film comes together. And I just look at it myself and go like, I don't know, could I ever do this again? You know what I mean? And then you set out to do it again.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an addiction.
That's awesome. Well, I guess, Sergio, I just want to wrap it up. I guess I'd ask what's next and what are you working on? What's on the docket for you?
Yeah, well, I'm preparing for to direct another feature, which is exciting. We're sort of dabbling in the unscripted space, so we have a show that's sort of like Chef's Table that we're developing that I'm excited about because I mentioned earlier that I love food so much.
Yeah.
And there's a series that we're developing, and then there's a couple of docs that I'm really passionate about that I want to revisit that medium because you don't really have to wait or ask for permission. You can literally just start with a documentary. You can kind of like, you know, on a shoestring, make a film. And so I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Not only for meeting with us and talking with us, for being so kind to us when we met you the other night, and for making a great film for people to enjoy. We look forward to talking to you again in the future on another project. And anytime, once again, congratulations on the film.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thanks. It means a lot. And the fact that you make a podcast about movies, that's awesome. So we need more of that. And and let's make cinema like going to the opera again.
Yes.
Let's get dressed up. And we talked about it the other night and make an event of it. So yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thanks for promoting the movie.
Awesome. Of course.
Welcome.
Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You
Thanks,
too.
Sergio.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.